You ever wonder how huge, life-altering change really happens? We're always looking for that one big bang, that sudden breakthrough that just flips a switch. But what if the most powerful force for transformation isn't some massive earthquake? What if it's something way quieter, way more patient? Today, we're going to explore this incredible idea, how to get amazing results, not with brute force, but with this really elegant mix of consistency and depth. All right, let's get into it.
This quote right here, it just nails the whole idea. I mean, think about it. A huge, rushing flood, yeah, it's powerful for sure. It can cause a ton of damage, but it's temporary. It comes, and then it's gone. The real, world-shaping power of water is in that constant, steady drip, the one that can wear away solid rock over thousands of years. This isn't about one big, heroic effort that just leaves you totally wiped out. It's about the quiet, relentless power of patient, steady repetition.
So that leads us to the big question, right? It feels like a paradox, doesn't it? We live in a world that's all about speed, about overnight success. So how can something so small, an action you might not even notice day to day, how can that possibly carve out a Grand Canyon in your life or your career? How do we actually harness that quiet water drop power to deal with our own personal stones? Those huge challenges, those complicated skills or ambitious goals that just seem completely immovable. Well, this explainer is going to unpack the exact framework for how to do just that. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into that paradox of the water drop. Then, we'll get into the real mechanics with two key ideas, the cycle and the rhythm. We're going to see how they work together to create this unstoppable growth engine. And finally, we'll turn it all back to you, so you can start applying this stuff in your own life. Okay, so if the dripping water is our metaphor, what are the actual mechanics making it happen? The source material we're looking at today breaks it down into two separate but totally connected ideas. Think of them as two engines that have to work together to drive real, deep change. Let's call them the twin engines of transformation. What's so cool about this is how it splits these two ideas apart. On one side, you've got the cycle. This is your commitment engine. It's all about the doing, the repetition, the frequency, just showing up no matter what. But on the other side, you've got the rhythm, and that's your quality engine. This is all about the improving, adding depth, finding new insights, and boosting the quality of every single repetition. See, one without the other just doesn't work. The cycle without rhythm? That's just stagnation. You're just spinning your wheels. And rhythm without the cycle? That's just inconsistent. You get these flashes of brilliance, but they never build into anything real. You absolutely need both. So let's break them down, starting with the foundation, the cycle. First up, the cycle. Now, this is probably the harder part, because it takes a level of long-term commitment that just flies in the face of our modern need for instant results. This isn't about intensity, it's all about endurance. This is where we lay down that unshakable foundation that all real growth is built on. So, what is the cycle, really? Well, it's the raw, brute force commitment to a single, repeatable action. It's deciding you're going to do something and then just doing it, over and over and over again. The key phrase here is regardless of external conditions. It's not about waiting until you feel motivated or inspired. Come on, motivation is fickle, right? The cycle is a system that builds its own momentum, especially on the days you really don't feel like it. But how long do you have to stick with it? The source material is super specific about this number, and it's so important to get why. 3 years. It's saying that this is kind of the minimum time for deep identity level change to really take hold. Think about it. In that first year, you're just building the habit, fighting all the friction. In the second year, you usually hit what's called the valley of disappointment. That's where you're putting in a ton of effort, but the results aren't really showing up yet. And that's where most people quit. But if you push through, it's in that third year and beyond that the compounding effect really kicks in, and the progress becomes undeniable, powerful, and almost automatic.
And this perfectly captures the mindset you need. The source uses this amazing phrase, zong bao mo yo, which means through storms and rain. That is the absolute heart of the cycle. Your commitment has to become non-negotiable. It's not a question of if you'll do it today, it's only a question of when. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't wake up and have a debate about it, you just do it. But this relentless consistency is only half the story. To really grow, you've got to add another, equally crucial layer.
So if the cycle is the body of this whole process, the physical act of showing up, then the rhythm is its mind and its soul. Just repeating an action for 3 years can lead to burnout, boredom, or even worse, you just get really good at doing something the wrong way. Mindless repetition is not mastery. To truly transform, you have to power your consistency with that second engine, the rhythm.
This is where we go from just doing the work to truly understanding it. Okay, so the rhythm is that conscious effort to make every single repetition a little bit better, a little smarter, or a little deeper than the one before. It's the habit of reflecting. It's asking yourself after every time, okay, what did I learn? What worked? What didn't? How can I do this with a bit more skill or insight tomorrow? It's the process of turning mindless action into mindful practice. It's what makes sure your growth curve doesn't just flatten out, but keeps accelerating upward.
This slide lays out the incredible journey that the rhythm takes you on. It all starts with simple knowledge. You know the facts, you know the moves. But with rhythmic practice, you get to true understanding. You start to see how all the pieces connect. Then comes this massive leap, what the source calls thosult, which is like profound clarity. It's this deep, intuitive grasp of the whole thing. You don't just see the what anymore, you see the why behind it all. And the final stage? You embody it. The skill isn't something you do anymore. It's just part of who you are.
And now for the magic. What happens when you put these two powerful engines together? When that relentless consistency of the cycle is fused with the ever-deepening insight of the rhythm, you don't just get 1 + 1 = 2 results. You get exponential results. You create a completely unstoppable engine for growth and mastery.
This formula says it all. The relentless cycle provides the deep roots, the structure, the momentum, digging into the ground day after day. The deepening rhythm provides the upward growth, reaching for the sky with intelligence and constant improvement. And together, they create this powerful feedback loop. Strong roots fuel bigger growth, and that new growth drives the roots even deeper. This is the organic, unstoppable way to get to true mastery.
And here's the payoff. The source makes a really bold promise here. After 3 to 5 years of applying this formula to whatever field you choose, you won't just be good at it. You will hit a level of expertise where you can advise other people with total clarity and confidence. You become a master, a consultant, an expert. Not because you were born with some special talent, but simply through this patient, powerful two-part process. This chart shows you exactly why this process is so powerful, but also why so many people give up on it. Look at year 1. The gain is tiny. You can barely see it. It's so easy to get discouraged here and just quit, thinking this isn't working. But if you trust the process and stick with it, just look at the jump by year 3. The growth is starting to get really significant. And by year 5, it's gone exponential. This isn't linear growth, it's compounding growth, where every bit of progress you make builds on everything that came before. The biggest rewards are always waiting at the end for the people who persevere.
So, we've walked through the theory, the what, and the how. Now let's make this personal. Because, honestly, understanding a framework like this is totally useless if you don't apply it. So the final and most important question is, how does this apply directly to you? Seriously, take a second and really think about this. What is the great, big, stubborn stone in your life? Is it mastering a guitar, building a business from scratch, getting into the best shape of your life? Maybe it's becoming a truly present parent. Identify that one big, meaningful goal that feels almost impossible right now. That is your stone. Now for the most important part. Once you know your stone, what's your water drop? What is the one tiny, simple, repeatable action you can commit to doing every single day, rain or shine? Not some giant leap, just a single drop. Is it practicing for 15 minutes? Writing just 100 words? Making one cold call? Figure out that tiny action. That is your cycle. And the commitment to try and improve it by just 1% each time, that is your rhythm.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that real, lasting change isn't born in a single moment of superhuman effort. It's grown through patience, through consistency, and through a relentless commitment to getting deeper. The greatest achievements are usually just the result of a small action repeated with mindful intention for a very, very long time. The question isn't whether you're strong enough to smash the stone in one go, but whether you're willing to be as patient and as persistent as the water drop.